former FBI attorney to plead guilty to falsifying email in Russia investigation. While the search has been on for a little over a year to prove that the FBI's investigation of the 2016 Trump campaign possibly colluding with Russia was illegitimate, so far not much information has turned up. The first significant matter to develop from the multiple investigations occurred this week when a former FBI attorney agreed to plead guilty to falsifying a statement to obtain government surveillance. In 2016, the FBI started following Russian interference in the presidential election. The Bureau began following the Trump campaign, believing there was sufficient evidence that there may be cooperation between the campaign and Russia. As president, Donald Trump fired FBI Director James Comey, leading to Robert Mueller to be named as special counsel to the Russia investigation. Once Mueller submitted his report that found there was insufficient evidence to support cooperation between Russia and the Trump campaign, multiple probes were launched into the FBI, including 2 Senate committee probes, an Inspector General's probe, and a U.S. Attorney's probe. Attorney General William Barr assigned John Durham, a Connecticut U.S. attorney, to review the FBI and Mueller team's work. After more than a year, he has turned up his first significant instance of wrongdoing in the FBI probe. A legal filing was submitted Friday in Washington, D.C. federal court that shows former FBI attorney Kevin Clinesmith will plead guilty to one charge of making a false statement by altering an email while seeking to renew the government surveillance of former Trump campaign advisor Carter Page in 2016. Last December, the Justice Department Inspector General, Michael Horowitz, reported that when Clinesmith was working in the FBI's Office of General Counsel, he altered an email about Page so that it said he was not a source for another U.S. intelligence agency. However, Page was briefly a source for the CIA. Clinesmith told Horowitz he didn't consider Page to be a recruited asset. Kevin deeply regrets having altered the email, said Jonathan Schur, his attorney. It was never his intent to mislead the court or his colleagues, as he believed the information he relayed was accurate, but Kevin understands what he did was wrong and accepts responsibility. Barr hinted in an interview Thursday evening with Fox News that news regarding Durham's probe would be forthcoming. He acknowledged it was not an earth-shattering development, but that it would be an indication that things are moving along at the proper pace, as dictated by the facts in this investigation. Trump commented on the Clinesmith news by referring to him as a corrupt FBI attorney who falsified FISA warrants in James Comey's corrupt FBI. This is just the beginning, I would imagine, because what happened should never happen again, the president continued. He is pleading guilty. It's a terrible thing. The fact is, they spied on my campaign, and they got caught. You will be hearing more. However, the Inspector General's report concluded that the FBI did have a legitimate reason for opening the investigation into Russia and the Trump campaign. It also concluded there was no proof of political bias in opening the investigation. Yet, Horowitz did say the FBI made serious and repeated mistakes in seeking an order under the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act to surveil Page. It was determined that the FBI's submissions to the court made assertions that were inaccurate, incomplete, or unsupported by appropriation documentation. Barr said he asked Dunham to probe the investigation's origins because he didn't believe the FBI had a proper reason to launch it. He said last December that the FBI began investigating the campaign on the thinnest of suspicions and kept pushing even after it didn't go anywhere. There has to be some basis before we use these very potent powers in our core First Amendment activity. And here, I felt this was very flimsy, he said.